outlining the new course, the online course called PCC. It's a very, very unique opportunity for your children here at Yorktown. It's a great experience. I'm very excited about it. Mr. Troy Davis is a business teacher at the high school. He's going to take you through the course, what it looks like. He's going to be the teacher that's managing the course, communicating with your student, kind of guiding them through the process. Some of this stuff to the students is going to look very familiar because they've done modules and it's set up in a module format. PCC stands for Preparing for College and Careers. It's a required course at Yorktown Community Schools for high school graduation. So this is the first year that we've offered it to 8th graders. It's the first year that we've offered it online. All 8th graders will take it during semester 1 of this school year. Students that move into our district after the fact will have to take it in a traditional setting in the classroom during their freshman year, and they will be behind 1 credit. So the grade appears on their high school transcript. That's one very important fact for you. So don't take this class lightly. It's not going to be strenuous. It's not going to be overly difficult. It's basically an opportunity to kind of provide them a roadmap and kind of begin getting them thinking about careers, begin getting them thinking about the types of colleges or universities and programs within those universities that they want to attend. That's the intention of this course. Obviously, it's a class that is required for high school graduation, so there is a grade that must be attached to it. So there will be that expectation that they complete it, and they complete it at a quality rate. Mr. Davis will go over some deadlines and timelines and some of the ways that we're planning to keep them on target. I will go over a few of the things that we're going to do here in the building to kind of help them with that process as well. But that overall is what the class is. It's preparing for college and careers. And it is going to be all online within Canvas. And Mr. Troy Davis will be overseeing it. Mrs. Holly Stockler will be troubleshooting tech things as we move through the process of doing this. First of all, it's an online course. Obviously, I've already mentioned that a couple of times, so it can be done anywhere, anytime during semester 1. In fact, it's going to be open as soon as this meeting is over tonight. It will be open. Mr. Davis is going to open it as soon as this meeting's over, so you can technically go home tonight and get on it, look at it, move through it, look and see what it's all about. But you're going to get a nice snapshot of it as well tonight. So obviously, at schoolwork time, there's not going to be a class called PCC. Okay, we're not going to have guaranteed work time. But we will obviously use common sense. Okay, there will be times in that interventions and extensions class that we offer at the beginning. Those of you that are familiar with Yorktown know that that class happens every morning for 30 minutes. There will be built-in days throughout the first semester where we may give them a day or two for a few weeks during the school year to specifically work on the course if they need to get caught up. And it'll give them an opportunity to at least get a few hours of work in. It won't be 5 days a week. It won't be a study hall. It won't be solely dedicated to PCC because we have other things in that class that we need to get accomplished as well. But that will be one time that they can work on it during the school day. Obviously, this will be a great help to teachers. You know, when they have students taking a test, let's say, and they get done 10 minutes early, teachers are always, those of you that are teachers, you know you're always looking for things to keep them busy for the last 10 minutes of class on days like that. That will be something that a lot of teachers will do. If they finish a test early or they finish a requirement early, they'll tell them to get out their iPad, open up PCC, work on their modules some. And then obviously, we have the after-school homework help program that they can stay after, and they can access our wireless network and work on it during that time as well. So even though it's online and it is an online class and you're responsible for it, you will have some in-class time that you'll be able to complete some of the modules and some of the work within the modules. You know, for me, I told you I was pretty excited about it. I think it's very important that we're preparing students for future e-learning opportunities. That's obviously by the time that these students are graduating high school, the technologies will keep evolving and keep changing, but it's very important to stay ahead of the curve. That way they're not trying to play catch up when they're moving on to hopefully these universities, jobs, positions, those sorts of things where it may be a requirement. That you should feel very blessed that our district has the capability of even considering doing something like this, let alone pulling it off, and particularly at the middle school, because like I mentioned, every student that passes this class is going to get a high school credit. And that's a pretty big deal for every student. Theoretically, 100% of our 8th graders could leave with a high school credit. We have some students that leave with credits in other classes, but this is one that every single student in our building can leave with one. And that obviously opens up things for you next year when you're scheduling your freshman year. You'll be able to take other things instead of this class that has been a requirement for freshmen for many years. I cannot stress enough that this is not set up for them to fail, okay? We are going to make sure that all the students are successful. That was my main thing, and both Mrs. Stockler and Mr. Davis, who sat in on some of the very early meetings, can attest to. That was one thing that I was adamant about, is like, if we're going to do this, it needs to be successful, and the students need to be able to be successful with a fair amount of ease with it being online. So, like I mentioned earlier, he'll talk about some of the benchmarks. We'll have some things set up for you as parents to kind of know these are the targets that they need to hit, and this is about where we expect them to be in order for them to be done during semester 1. That way you're not trying to do 7 modules in 3 nights in the middle of December, right before the end of semester 1. We're going to stay on that. But you'll also be able to understand how to kind of monitor and look at those things as well. If they stay on track, they will complete it easy. They'll complete it easy. We've had an incoming freshman just left our building this past year as an 8th grader. We had them pilot it during the summer, and he has gone through it with ease, basically in a little over a month, and he's almost complete. So it can be done. And we made him kind of go a little quicker than what even these students will need to go, because we needed to work out kinks, wanted to make sure all the links worked and those types of things. But he has had a very good time with it. He's actually enjoyed a lot of the experiences online, and he's performed very well while doing that. So I just can't emphasize enough that this is really a positive thing. You guys are going to love it. The kids are going to like it. They may act like they don't, but they're 8th graders. They'll like it. They'll be fine, and they're going to get a high school credit, and it's going to be a really, really good thing for all of us at Yorktown Community Schools. So thank you once again for coming out. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Davis now so he can kind of go over the course with you, and then Mrs. Stockler will end. So thank you.
Good evening. I've actually never been in this gymnasium. I've never been past the office in the middle school, so it's been pretty interesting to me. As Mr. Dudley said, I'm Troy Davis. I teach at the high school. I've taught there for the past 6 years. Teach a lot of different courses, but I've taught PCC pretty regularly with the students in a face-to-face environment. So what I want to do is, first of all, I want to do the same thing that Mr. Dudley did, is reassure you that I have made this course for your students to be successful. The only reason they won't come out of this with a good grade and a high school credit was they just didn't do any work. That's it. We did not make the assignments where they were ridiculous. I didn't make any of the things they needed to do or read super lengthy. I understand they're 8th graders, okay? I got 3 kids of my own, and I know how 8th graders think and how their mind about getting things done. I think they will enjoy it. We tried to create it. I've had to put myself this summer in a mode to think like an 8th grader. So hopefully if I didn't. One thing that, before we go through the course, is I'm available anytime you want. I'm on the course. I can be emailed. You can call the school. I will get back with you. I checked yesterday. We have 210 eighth graders signed up for this course. I picked myself up off the floor, and everything was fine. That's a lot of kids, but we will make sure that communication is open for students, parents. Any situation will be taken care of. So don't think that you're out there having an online course and that you're just, this is not like some of the things that they have on television where there's somebody out there in the virtual world supposedly teaching your child. There's a real teacher that's part of this corporation connected to the course. I want feedback. We can't make it better if we don't get feedback. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you tell me, well, this is just terrible. Our pilot kid has told me 2 or 3 things. Nobody's going to like this. This is dumb. I need to know that, We don't, as parents, always think about how our kids feel about things, and we have to think about how they're going to survive in the digital world that we live in later. So I'm going to go through the course. I'm just going to show you a little bit of the intro module, and then I'm going to go through the other modules so you're not here all night and know it's hot. And then you can go through them at home, and certainly if you have any questions. Actually, the course is live. I made it live before I left the Yorktown High School building. Huh? Oh, because of power schools. Okay. It's not live because you can't get in power school yet, but that's okay. So we'll talk about that. One of the things that will happen, and they'll communicate with the kids, we do have a state pre-test and post-test for this course, and that will be our measurement of what kind of growth we've gotten for the students. Mrs. Stockler and I are going to administer that here at school. That's not something you have to worry about. So when you look at that very first introduction module, you don't have to worry about any of that, okay? Is it okay if the kid starts Module 1? Absolutely. The first standard module, and I'll show you that here in a second. That's perfectly fine. That's not going to impact our pre-test scores very much because we're going to get that done first of the week. But that's the only things we have to make sure that are done at school is that pre-test and post-test because those have to be proctored and I have to be involved in that. So I'm going to go over here to the course, and the kids all know this because they've worked modules, they've lived modules, so they know how to do things. You can read through that later. But as we go up here to the modules, you'll see the kind of order that they come in. They'll have their PCC at a glance. The course syllabus, you can look at that. That has my information, my contact information in it. You've also got the third document is really important to parents, and that is, I'm going to open that document up. What that document is this course, your students have the entire semester to get it done, okay? So the due dates in there, I don't want to say they're hard due dates because there's not going to be any such thing as late work for the semester. But one important due date to pay attention to is the quarter has to end at some point. We have 2 quarters in a semester. So if we can keep them on track to complete the first 4 modules in the first 9 weeks and the last 3 modules in the second 9 weeks, we'll be fine. If we get into individual situations, you email me and, Billy's been in the hospital and Grandma's been sick and you had to move and that one last assignment on that quarter is not there, I can move that around. I don't want to have to, just because with 210 kids, that could create some problems, but I'm going to work with you as individual as I can when there's circumstances that arise. So go through that pacing chart with your student. It's in there. If you use it in digital form, everybody knows those blue links take you somewhere. Well, you're in the course, so they'll actually would take you to the assignment. But you have to do all the other work before you can get to the stuff that's turned in. A lot of the assignments are structured with ease. In the beginning, they're going to take some skills tests, some personality tests, kind of find out who they are. It's very exploratory. What they're going to do is they're going to go through that, and all they're going to give me is a screenshot of the results. Well, what kid doesn't like to sit around on the computer for 25 minutes and somebody tell them, well, you're this or you're that? Hopefully we won't dispel anybody's dreams and when they thought they were going to be a pilot and it told them they were going to be an accountant, and that wouldn't be very good. So I've got the dates for how everything should work out. There is stuff as early as the end of next week, but it's fairly simple. And that entry model, they just have to, there's just a thing they have to submit a document that says, hey, I've read through it, I understand what I have to do as a student, I understand where things are at, and the kids know how to work the modules, so they should do pretty well with that. But that pacing chart is, and the modules for parents, if you're working with your student, you'll find that in our modules that there's always a next button, and you could literally just go through them one after another. One thing I want to encourage you is that one of the things that we have the kids doing in this course is we have them looking at not only what careers interest them, but what jobs are going to be available. You know, it's great if you want to be a museum curator, but how many of those do we need? So we work on some skills that pay the bills, some things that will help them not live in your basement at 35 years old. See, I know. So a lot of the things we're doing is we're getting them to explore, we're getting them to look into that. There's points in there where I told them, talk to your parents. Ask them, we really do know stuff, kids. I hate to tell you this, but we've kind of been there, done that. And so be interactive with them. I want them to have some kind of frame of reference for the work that they're doing here. When they get into that first module, every line in the module has something going on. It might just be saying, hey, remember to do this, or watch this video, or review this. If it was anything that I wanted to make sure that they read, I read it. I did audio. There's video in there. I made sure that, because I know, we were all students. If you're not told to read it and it's 2 pages long, you're like, I don't want to read that. So when they click that on and they hear me talk, they'll be like, oh, that's Mr. Davis. I better pay attention to this, okay? Because at the end of each module, they have to take a quiz, okay? And that quiz, the nice part about the quiz, everything else is little project activities they're turning in. But the quiz is actual questions they're going to have to answer, multiple choice and true and false. But here's the rub. They can take the quiz more than once. It's not going to give them the answers, but if they didn't go through the content as well, they can go back and do it again. We don't want them to fail. This is a survey course. We teach it as a survey course at the high school. This is not calculus, people. It should be easy for them. And after they probably get through that first module quiz and they didn't do as well as they wanted, and they went back and found things, they're going to kind of pick up some clues on, well, I need to pay attention to this. I tell them in the modules, hey, you need to take notes here. Sometimes I make them submit their notes. And Mrs. Stockler is going to talk to you about accessibility and how it works with their iPad and the tools that they have available to them on their iPad, but it's all very user-friendly. One of the things that you have to do, that the kids have to do, is when they get to an module, they cannot go to the next module until they finish the one previous. And it says that right there in their course. So it's not that we don't want them skipping around. I mean, some of it builds, but it builds within the module. But we just don't want them going from Module 1 to Module 7. The one thing I will tell you, you'll notice that Modules 1 and Module 7 are a lot beefier than the ones in the middle. That's because the state test for this course, 45% of that test is over Modules 1 and 7. Okay? So just as a guideline, and when you get down there, I've given you some tips in that first introduction about there's a blueprint. So any of you that really, really want some good reading, you could read that blueprint and understand what we used to set up the course based on what was done within the state. Then they'll just move through each module. It's all built around the core standards, and I'm not going to bore you with all that. But they're all, like I said, there's a lot of links, there's a lot of videos, there's a lot of fun activities. I don't think there's anything that the kids are gonna terribly hate. I think we've pulled most of that out already. And they shouldn't have too many problems. For students, first of all, this is what I want you to do, because one of the things this course does is help build some skills that you need. Okay? This is your chance to show your mom and dad you can do something on your own. It's not like taking out the trash and having to be asked 15 times. Okay? You can prove, hey, you realize how much trust you're going to build if you get through this course on your own and they don't have to haggle you about it, and you should, because that's one of the skills. The last module is about the skills that employers are looking for. And it's really important because as you move toward high school, this course is going to help you think about the things you need to do and be reflective about yourself as you go to prepare and get ready for high school, because that's exactly what this course is for. Get ready to prepare for high school so you can do well in high school, so you can go to college or whatever type of training you want to get and go out into the job world. So take that initiative. Like we said, you're going to find that you can zip through this if you just allot some time to it. But make a commitment. The one thing I don't want kids to do, and that's why we put the pacing chart and some due dates in there. Like I said, if it comes in a little before is great. If it comes in after that, it's still going to be full credit. But we want to give you some kind of semblance of a guideline to know that you need to get it turned in. As they flow through that, like I said, feedback from the kids will be great. Feedback from parents. And if we get in a situation that's just really unique that we need to control, we'll take care of that. Because this is new for everybody. This course may not look exactly the same next year because based on your feedback, I know when we get done at the end of the semester, we will send out some kind of parent and student survey for the course so that we can know how to plan accordingly. But I will tell you, most of your kids are going to take some type of online course when they go to college. As a matter of fact, I did my entire master's degree online. And did very well. So it's one of those things where this is definitely what the future is going to offer for our students. Please, again, contact me. I'm always available, and we'll plug through. Ms. Tackler is going to go through some of the technology things, and then after that, she'll open up to questions.
My name's Holly Stockler. I'm in charge of technology integration for our district, and I'm here to make sure that everything works for you. And like Mr. Davis said, we've spent a lot of time this summer piloting the program with a student, getting feedback for that, fixing any of the glitches that we knew would impact everyone. So instead of 200 people getting impacted, the one was impacted, and we fixed it for you so that you'll be fine. There are a couple things we need to talk about accessibility-wise. That means, what about those students who need extra support? Like in their IEPs or 504s, they get read to, those kinds of things. There, in the handout that I gave you, there are screenshots for how to, on the iPad, how to turn on the accessibility tools so that it will read everything to them. There's screenshots exactly how to do that, and if you don't want to look at those, you can watch a video where I walk you through it that way. So if anybody has special accommodations that way, that should help you with that. Also, if your child receives resource at school, so for example, if they check in with a resource teacher at school on all their other classes, they're going to also check in on PCC, and that teacher will help them with that. So just be mindful that because it's an online course doesn't mean they receive any different services than what they do on the courses that they take here at school. So that's important to know. Mr. Davis, of course, will be your first point of contact for anything that has to do with the course because he is the instructor of the course. I am always there, though, if you need to talk about some things that you like or don't like. If you're like, hey, my iPad's not working at home, I'm not sure what to do, or we don't have great connectivity at our home. I'm the person to call for that, and we'll figure something out for you. I promise we won't leave you hanging on that. Both of our contact information you'll find on this handout for sure. Mr. Dudley mentioned early on, I'm going to mention again, the Homework Help Program. It's a fabulous program that we have here at YMS where students can stay after school and get help with their homework. Even if they stay and work on that one day a week, that's a time that's dedicated to it. So that's super important that I want you to know that. Other than that, I'm going to take off my educator hat and put on my mom hat. I have an 8th grader, just like the rest of you do. So Jonah will be taking this class right alongside your students. So I'm going to see everything that's happening. If he has a glitch, I'm going to know it right there because he's with me. Again, we tried to take care of all that in advance, but I'm going to have my hand in it the whole time. So I'm certainly not going to want to suffer through it myself, and I don't want you to suffer through either. So we'll make it as easy on all of you as we can. I am super excited. As a person who works across the district, I see what happens here. I see what happens at the high school. This is an amazing opportunity for our students. So as a mom, like going through this information, it tells you about like financial aid. It tells you about all of those different kinds of financing for planning to finance for college. I learned so much going through this course. So I encourage you to go through it as well. Have your kids sign in and you look through it. I really did learn a lot. So that's what we have to share tonight. I am happy to answer any questions you have or deflect this to the guys. So does anybody have anything for us? Any questions? Oh my gosh, really? Not one question about your first online course. We did such a great job explaining that. Oh my goodness. No takers. Okay. Oh, yes, ma'am.
I heard Mr. Dudley saying that
Yes, he did say that, and that's true. We offer other high school courses here in the middle school, and it would depend on the academic track that you're on. For example, if students take algebra here, they earn a high school credit for that. Not all students have to do that, though. It depends on what your math track is. If you're on a certain track, you'll take biology here rather than there. So there are students earning high school credits already. They're just doing it live instead of online. This gives everybody the opportunity to earn a high school credit. So instead of a small number of kids walking up there with a credit, we now will have an entire grade level. So that's kind of just opening up an opportunity for everybody. It's a great question. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Said it talks about financial aid. Since you're taking it now in 8th grade, with the way financial aid process changes
Yes.
by the time they reach seniors, I know that students keep up with
Yeah.
that, but are they going to?
It more talks about the structure of how it works, like the difference between like loans and grants and those kinds of things.
It's not going to get into you're going to get this much for a Pell Grant or you're going to get that, and the FAFSA is not going to go away.
Yeah.
So, but it really talks about the different types. What you can strive for as a student, whether you want to get scholarships or whether you want to get a grant.
Yeah, it's
or,
very general.
You know, based on the institution, how you qualify, and I think those things will all still stay in play. So, yeah.
That's a great
It is
question
a
as
good
well.
question.
That's what I was saying as a parent going through it. I was like, wow, I did not even realize. I don't remember how that worked from when I was in school. So yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, it's great. Anyone else? Okay. Well, thank you all for coming out. Thank you for sitting in this hot gym tonight. Have a great night, and we look forward to tomorrow.